today's video, we're just going to show you a little bit of welding some of these flanges. I already showed you a video of making them and just a tiny bit of welding, but we're going to show you a little bit of welding. I've welded that one already, and I'll just show you this one. So, Chris Winarski back again, another welding fabrication video for you guys. Today is May 12th, 2025, and it is 76 degrees right now, humid in Dunedin, Florida, cloudy and partly rainy. And I just want to say thank you. We hit our 1,000 subscriber goal this weekend, and I want to say thank you and appreciate every single one of you subscriber, followers, everybody that subscribed, that watched, that likes, comments, and everything on the videos. I appreciate it, and it means a lot. It really does. I wouldn't think that anybody would care to watch my videos, but thank you. So we'll get back to the video, I guess. All right, so here's just a little different video for you guys. There's tons of welding videos out there. That's why I really don't do it. There's not a bunch of building videos. And I mean, I'm not the best welder or anything. Like, here's this one. This one came out good, but it's easy welding on a flange and everything. But yeah, we'll bring you along with it. And I don't have the best setup to do all this stuff. Like, you're not going to get the best arc shots, but got to practice a little bit. If I want to show you a little bit, I got to practice. So we'll get to it. I'm going to use the welding positioner. I know most people really don't have one probably, but I'm going to. And I'll just show you. This doesn't have a scratch start or a lift arc. It has lift arc, but you got to hit the foot pedal to activate it. And this is just my settings for the Everlast. Like, if I was using the Miller over there, I'd just use the lift arc on that, where you just normal scratch start thing. But here's our number one setting, which is normal. I go to setting 3, which is pre-programmed for me, that I program myself, and I got about 150 amps, and it's 4T setting, and just regular high frequency Tig, and then 4T, whatever, all easy stuff. But downslope is 4 seconds, and I'll explain that in a second. Post flow is 10 seconds, pre-flow is 0.3 seconds, start amps is 10 amps, and upslope is 4. So that means it takes upslope, it goes from 10 amps, it takes 4 seconds to get to 150 amps, and then downslope is 4 seconds down to 5 amps. So really what that means, you could use a finger push button or your foot pedal, and you push the foot pedal, and then you let off. Like, once you're pushing it, it's at 5 amps or whatever that was, or 10 amps. Then I let off, then it takes 4 seconds to ramp up to that max amps, 150 amps or whatever you set it at. Then you can take your foot off the pedal, like it's already off the pedal, do your welding. Once you're about to finish, put your foot back on the pedal, push down, and then it slowly tapers down to whatever that end amps is. It takes 4 seconds to taper down to that, and then to 5 seconds, I think it was. Then you let off, and then it just ends the arc. So that's your 4T. And then you could do 2T, which is just on off, like if you had like a finger push button. So you just push the thing and on off pretty much. Pretty simple, but I kind of like this way. Even though I like the scratch start and stuff, I like this way because it doesn't leave any arc marks. So you're not scratching it to start it or lift arc or whatever, and there's no arc marks or anything. And one other thing is there's no crater or anything right there. So that comes out pretty good like that because it tapers down. So that's another reason why I like it. I mean, sometimes it's a pain if you got to like weld underneath that, but you could set your upslope to like 10 seconds if you want. Just push the foot pedal, crawl under there really fast, and get comfortable, and then keep going. So enough with that, but that's just a little how-to for that. Now, if you're not using a positioner, which sometimes it's harder to learn the settings and everything. I know I mentioned this in another video. I just write down my settings, and this would be 4-inch schedule 40 pipe to spool, and then all that stuff. And then I found this today. See, I always adjust it. Like, each day is a little different, but 157 amps at 31 speed, and I'm just doing one single wire. If you have like a different code to follow by, you might not be using this, but I'm using 532 wire, one big fat wire, 532, and I get a nice beefy weld. It's over 1/4 of an inch. I think codes, you got to be 1/4 inch or bigger, and we're plenty with that, and it's a little more concave than little less heat going into it, so I don't gotta do 2 passes. Usually I'll do 2 passes, like a 32nd and an 1/8 inch to follow along, but that's nice and good right there. So if you're doing it to code or something, don't follow exactly my directions. Follow, well, you could do a little bit, but whatever. This isn't a how-to, this is just a follow along, so yeah. So that was that. I should wire brush that off before I start with this one, because if you don't wire brush your welds off within, like, once it cools down, it gets a lot harder to brush off. So I'll brush that off and we'll get set up for this. First thing to do if you want to achieve maximum cleanliness is wipe off your filler wire. I mean, I don't always do it, but if it's something important, that was brand new wire right from the box, like a sealed box or whatever, and it's dirty. And then I wipe my part down after with acetone. You could use lacquer sometimes, I don't know, but I like acetone, or isopropyl alcohol works a little bit too, but acetone's my favorite. And I just put it in this little squeezy bottle and it's working for good for now. I think we're pretty much ready to start welding. I got all my tacks on. I got some inside and outside, and we're ready to start going. I'll probably just weld this and this, and I was able to keep it at like the same speed and temperature, and I'm at 157 amps and 32 on my speed, which doesn't matter. You could just walk at your own speed. If you want to go up a little bit more, 160, but I'm using 532 wire, so it doesn't really matter. Every wire and stuff is going to change, but that's what I'm doing. I'm using a number 8 gas lens, 332 green laser tungsten by CK Worldwide. It's just like a hybrid. I just sharpen on the bench grinder with like this thing, and I'll sharpen it like that. And I got a little diamond wheel over here that I fine tune it with, and dunk it in a cup of water after, cool it down, and that's it. And we get a really nice sharp point. All right, we're gonna try our hand at voiceover, and so got my new little microphone, giving it a little test drive. It's a little noisy in the shop, and I'm doing it on my lunch right now, but it's doing that upslope, so it took like 4 seconds to get up to that desired amperage or whatever it was, but still going a little slower than I'd like to. This was a second arc shot of the other side when I welded it, but there it is pretty much, and just going a little slow, build up that temperature, get that puddle good and hot, and then I start getting going like about right there. Pick up the speed a little bit more. I'd like to go a little bit faster, but that was with 1/8 inch wire. This was 532, so I'm going a little slower. I need a little more amperage, or maybe go a little faster and pick up the speed. But pause on each end, that helps you from undercutting, like pause, 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 pause. And if you could time it like perfectly and get your steps pretty good, then give you a little more consistency. I'm not the best. There's plenty of other better videos, but trying my hand at it. Not the best arc shots either, but we're trying that out too, so bear with me. This is, for me, good arc shots, but for everybody else, no, these are pretty horrible. So sorry about that, and bear with me. We'll get them better sooner. So, but let me know if you guys like these type of videos too. I'll do longer ones like this, or arc shot ones like this. All right, we got our first pass done, and then I'm gonna flip it over. I'm gonna do this one, and I'm gonna flip it, and I'm gonna do close-ups of the next one. So I'll probably incorporate those in with this, and you'll just see it all. Like this will all be one, a little bit of each, and each other, if that makes sense. But that came out pretty good. I mean, it's not super perfect. And usually I like to do 2 passes, but we're out of the 1/8 inch wire, so got 532 and 332nd, and I like to do 332nd for the first pass and 1/8 inch for the second. And it works really good because you'll have like a little gap in between it, and with the 1/8 inch wire, it doesn't like puddle super good. Sometimes it does, but then sometimes it'll like stop, where if you just try doing it in 1 pass. So if you do 2 passes, like a small one first, and go over it with the second one, that second pass just comes out so much more consistent, for me at least. And one thing to remember too, amperage, everybody's gonna have a different amperage between how fast you go or slow you go and what size wire you're using. So I'm doing 157, you guys might do 160, 170, or 120, for all depends. The hotter you go, the faster you go, and the slower you go, the lower you want to go on your amperage. So, and vice versa with wire and everything. So that's all really depends, and most of you probably know this already, but just figure I'd share with you. We're on to this. So now I was able to sit on a chair. If I flipped the brick, I could probably sit, but I'm just gonna stand up for this one. And then also, before I restart my weld, I like to clean or snip my wire, but this is pretty thick wire, so what I'll do is just use my little grinder, battery grinder with a designated stainless steel wheel. And when you wire brush your stuff, you want to use designated stainless steel wire brush. And same thing with that, that's designated stainless steel wire brush, and it's a stainless steel brush too. All right, so here's our inside weld, and here's actually where the welding positioner comes in handy, especially with these smaller, like 4-inch pipe spools or whatever you want to call them. It's a little harder to get in there and walk around it, and it doesn't look as good because you got to do like 4 splits. I do it in like 4 segments, but same thing here. Just pause, pause, pause. Use your whatever. If you have your own welding procedure, obviously go with that, and or whatever your shop or whoever's telling you to do it. But some people might want 3 passes, 1 pass, certain size wire, certain amount of amperage. So it all depends. But just showing you, it's not a how-to, just entertainment, I guess. But sped it up a little right here, but still going a little slower. That's the downside with welding positioners, I guess. Probably repeat myself with these voiceovers, but probably should put some music on. But using this one app where the music gets demonetized or whatever, copyright strikes come up. But here we go. Yeah, if you guys like these videos though, let me know and I'll try doing better arc shots for you guys. It's a little hard to get like the best arc shots, and I got to figure out a lens setup and a different camera setup or something, but willing to give it a try if you guys like to see it. I know I had a couple people ask about it, but we're about almost done with this and got a couple seconds left and getting ready to the end right here, and I'll get ready to push that pedal in a second, and it'll slowly taper down about right there to 0 amps or 5 amps or whatever. Take that wire out, tapering down right there, and then I'll let off, hold that post flow there for a couple seconds. That's the one thing, I was kind of outrunning it a little and I had to search for the foot pedal in the long run, but let's see how it came out. Not too bad. All right. So I like to use that fat wire though, or 2 passes, and it just, first pass never looks that good if you're using a thin wire, and then the second pass just looks perfect. Not perfect, but better. Hopefully that came out pretty good. Gotta get this camera zoom in on. I do it on one setting, it's a little blurry. So, not the best, not the worst. Now I'm just gonna do that one, and then we'll go from there. And that's what they look like, wire brushed. I look better outside in the light, but to me it looks, that's where I ended, I think. Yeah, right there, you can see a little bit. And there you have it, my friends. Not the prettiest. I did like a little bit, and then I stopped and got a better arc shot, but not too shabby. Alrighty, folks, this will be my sign out part, I guess, because I didn't do it at the end. But thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. At this time, as this was like a month or 2 ago when I got my 1,000th subscriber and monetization. So thank you for that. I really appreciate every single one of you and all my subscribers. It says 90-something% of you guys aren't subscribed. So if you like the videos, please subscribe. But I appreciate every single one of you, even the ones that still watch and don't subscribe. But hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and thank you for watching. I don't know why it always looks like ugly when it's inside with the light like that, but when I bring it outside, it looks a little better. I'm not excusing my welds or anything. And that's it, folks. Different thing, but I had to weld that little coupling thing on. And I just did that off video, but that was different process, or wasn't planning on showing that. But insides, outsides, insides, outsides, clean it up with a little cleaner, passivation cleaner, and they're good to go.